Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for AI and Real Estate with World Law Group. I see a few new names in our participant list this morning, which is really great, or this afternoon or evening, whatever time it is for you. For those of you who don't know me, I am Hannah Shea with World Law Group, and I work with our 15 practice and industry groups, real estate and construction being one of those. And today that group is hosting AI and real estate. We have a couple of guests here joining us today from Gowling, our member in England, and from Avail, the software we'll be talking about to kick this call off. You have been muted upon arrival. If you have questions, feel free to use the raise hand feature or drop a question in the chat. We're happy to answer those as we go along, and we encourage you to ask questions, so please do so. The session is being recorded and it will be available on the website after. So you'll see the Otter AI at the top of the screen that says it's live streaming. It's not actually live streaming, it's just recording the session and taking notes for us. So just wanted to give you a heads up there. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to kick us off to Matt Walker from Gowling in England to kick us off. Matt.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody from the UK. I don't know if people are in front or behind us from a time zone perspective. So good morning or good evening, depending on where you may be.
Yeah, you're gonna be Helen's gonna be home.
Somebody gone on. There we go. So yes, just to introduce the product. So we use a product in our real estate group called Avail, and Alana's going to tell you how it all works in practice. But just the background of the germination to Avail within our business. We've probably been using it for 4 or 5 years now. Alana will probably tell me it's longer, and I just haven't realised how long it's been embedded with us. But as it started out, we realised that there's an opportunity to use AI in real estate transactions, particularly the UK Land Registry, and the system that we use is quite uses quite similar system of laying out information. So it's quite user friendly from an AI perspective, as I understand it. You know, I'm no expert, and Alana will tell me otherwise. But so having seen this opportunity, and we have a large real estate group, we thought, well, how can we use AI? And so we decided to provide seed funding for an AI startup called Avail. And we've been involved with Avail right since its inauguration. And I think the important thing that we've done, though, is it's not just been a case of providing seed funding to get Avail off and running. Actually, what we've also done is we've been providing regular access to our legal teams and our support functions, so that we've helped and worked alongside Avail to build and refine product over time, and to help it introduce new features that come along. And what we typically do is we get a sort of a beta version that we will be testing and using and trialing before it's then rolled out more widely. The software itself, what it does is it reviews registered titles. So those are land registry documents. As I say, they're quite formulaic, so hence it's quite neatly works for Avail and AI. And what it does is it sort of takes those and produces different forms of output, which we can then use in our transactions. So in terms of the success of the product, the majority of the top 100 law firms in the UK are now using it. So we do, Avail sells the product not just to Gowling, but also to other law firms with real estate practices. And to put it in context, Avail is now the Land Registry's second largest customer. So it's hugely successful. And I think that, you know, Avail would also say that they're also responsible by the rolling out of this product across different firms as the largest single adoption of generative AI by UK law firms to date. And so what this means in practice is ultimately we are AI enabled from each, from end to end on a transaction. So right from the outset of the transaction, if a client's bidding, I will be using Avail to help me through the bidding process. When we're actually going through the acquisition process, I'll be using Avail. If I'm doing a transaction, a letting, I'll be using Avail to help me with queries that a tenant might have, and then we'll use it at at a sale at the end of the asset's life cycle for that particular client. So it's all permeating what we're now doing in real estate, in the UK. So I'll hand you over to Alana now, and she can tell you a little bit more about how it works in practice.
Hello. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, so Avail is artificial intelligence powered title risk analysis. We're also just about to release another product which is going to analyze your leases and again generate reports. The entire kind of rationale behind Avail is to help lawyers work faster and more efficiently and really speed up your due diligence and kind of remove that admin heavy kind of churn that exists in every transaction. So across the entire transaction, we are here to sort of help you speed up and save time. What I'm going to do is share a bit of my screen with you and show you how it works in action so you can get an idea. Bear with me 1 second while I just share my screen with you. So the Avail platform is accessible on a web link. So that web link it means you don't have to download anything. It doesn't have to integrate with a tech stack. As I said, we are really trying to be time saving and really speed up that entire process for you. And that starts with making it easy to access our platform. I will give you quite a high level overview of sort of how it works, because it's obviously not going to be applicable to every single one of you in every single jurisdiction. But basically, we will you can upload title plans, title registers into this platform and generate your sort of first draft report on title. So you have a few ways to do it. You can upload titles you already have, which I'm just quickly doing here, uploading a few that are in my computer. It then allows you to, or then requests you and actually requires you to upload your client name and your matter number. So this is to facilitate dispersing it onto your end client. As I say, at every sort of stage of this process, we want to be saving you time. So what we do is take over that that link up with your finance team. We go directly to them with information about how you how you've used the platform and where to disperse money to. So you as a fee earner don't have to be involved. As you can see, we've got our titles here. These look like the right ones. It's just going to give us the headline so I can make sure that I've uploaded the right document, and away we go. We then have the option to upgrade our report to add additional information that isn't necessarily in the title registers, so we can cross-check our title proprietors against Companies House. I have just uploaded title registers and it has found all the associated title plans from the land registry. All of the underlying documents, it has also found those automatically. So we can include an analysis of these underlying documents, these transfers, these leases, the deeds, all of those documents that form part of the title. We can add those to our basket, and we can kind of analyze them as part of our process. We can get information on mapping, we can get planning information, and we can get information about the energy performance of each of those titles. Once we know how we want to do it, once we kind of upgraded it the way we want to, we just hit next and away our AI goes. So our AI is completely pre-trained. It works straight out of the box. It knows exactly what it's looking for and it knows exactly how to do it. That was a real-time generation and that's it done. It has generated all these reports simultaneously, so you don't have to pick and choose them. And they are applicable across lots of different transaction types, across lots of different asset classes, and are kind of generated end to end. The whole process should take you 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, a first draft report on title. I will show you really quickly as well just what the other ways that we kind of link up with the land registry. We can find any properties that we have on a map. If you want to physically pull them off the map, we can do that. You can do a kind of a search of a company's entire property holding, that sort of thing. So lots of different ways. And that's it. It's designed to get you on and off it as soon as possible. So I'm just going to quickly show you what those reports might look like and how you can use these sorts of things in your day-to-day practice. I'm just going to switch my screen across for you. Bear with me 1 second while I bring up the document. Sorry, I don't think it wants to let me share. Here we go. So we have a number of reports that are kind of designed for different stages of transaction and different transactions. Here we go, sharing screen again. So we have our first screen here. Our first report here is our scoping report, our quoting and scoping report. So what this is designed for is high level information for a partner, for somebody who's running a transaction. You're on the phone to your client, they call you, they are asking, sort of abstractly discussing an instruction that they might have coming up. Maybe that's purchasing a lot of land for development, for example, and they're asking you, oh, how much is that going to cost? Sort of finger in the air. Your most recent similar transaction plus or minus 10% is maybe all you have to go on. So we've designed this report to give you really high level information that you can take in really quickly. So during that phone call, while you're on your phone to your client, you can say to them, actually, this is how this is what I think it's going to cost. So this is going to include really high level information, our site plan. It's going to show you where it is on a map. It's going to give you an interactive map to toggle on and off features. It's going to give you information about the complexity of the title. And that can be even things like, how many documents am I going to have to review as part of this transaction? So, this is going to tell you how many pages of documents, how many underlying documents there are, how many of those are leases, generate you this complexity score. So if you have a portfolio of 200 titles and they are all really complex, it's obviously going to take you a lot longer than 200 really simple ones. This is just letting you know which titles are included. It's then going to generate you a complexity matrix across the transaction. So that's there to flag to you a numerical tally of how many of each of these things there are across the transaction. So, which of these titles are complex and how does that complexity break down? Okay, this one's got a few restrictions on it, this one's got a few cautions on it, that sort of thing. So you can kind of gauge again really quickly how many of them there are. So that's a numerical tally. It's not a sort of like Experian credit score type risk score. It's just a numerical tally of how many of each of them there are. So AI is really, really good if we ask it an objective question. And the objective question we're asking, is, are there any charges on this property? And if so, how many? And that's where we're giving you this really high level of accuracy. We've got high level information about planning and environmental factors, and we've got information about the energy performance. We've got information about the corporate analysis. So, where that company, if it's the title proprietor is a registered company, where are they registered? Are they domestic? Are they an overseas company? And if they're an overseas company, do they comply with British legislation to be on the register of overseas entities? So all you need to do in order to generate this report, on the course of a phone call to your client is basically pop the title numbers in, download the report, in and out 30 seconds. Look at this report. You can take that in really, really quickly, and you can give your client that more accurate quote that's based around what you think is actually going to happen, especially in an age where clients are increasingly asking for fee caps or fixed fee arrangements, anything like that. You can set that fee cap. You can also use it to allocate work within your team, especially if you're working on, say, like a large portfolio. The last thing you want to be doing is giving, your most junior member of staff this title here to review, perform or like it, and then when they struggle, you've got to write off all their time and give it to somebody else. And it just means that you can kind of match up your fee earner seniority, your fee earner capacity with the title complexity. So this is just an example of a report that we generate for use at the very start of a transaction, sort of before you even get that instruction in. We can also switch my screen again. We have a more detailed report. Surprisingly, this detailed report is where the detail is. And this one, let me just switch it across. Apologies. So our detailed report is that more detailed kind of first report on title that's going to have a lot of that information about what your client wants to see and break down an awful lot of the specifics about that title. Again, I am just going to kind of rush through some of this because I do want to make sure I can show you everything in the time that we have. So the sort of detail that we're giving people is, red lines of the title boundary on different types of maps, so you can contextualize it in different contexts. We also have this is the sort of real meaty AI. What the AI has done is it's gone through the title, it's identified all the restrictions, it's pulled out the restrictions, it's categorized them for you here neatly, and it's made a suggested categorization as to the type of restriction. So this restriction relates to a third party, you need third party consent to release that, or you need to get a conveyance certificate to release this. We've got rights benefiting, rights burdening, all those other sort of the general meat of what's in a title review for a property in the UK. Where we have this information here and this blue health warning. So this is where our AI has read, analyzed, and summarized the underlying documents, the file copies. So that can be your leases, that can be transfers, that can be conveyances, deeds, any document relating to that title. Our system will provide you with a summary of them. And so that is going to look like this on a report. We flag it with a health warning because, unlike everything else in the report, this is a summary that's been generated by a large language model. It's been created by generative AI. So it generates you a summary two different ways. It's going to generate you this bullet point summary, which is going to contain the key commercial points that we have identified. Now, I may not flag this to you at the start, but actually everybody at Avail, everyone that isn't on the software developer side of the team, we all have law degrees, we've all been fee earners. So we, know how lawyers work. We know the information that you want to see. We know how you want to see it, and our AI is designed around that. So we have identified the kind of key commercial points that we think you need to see in a lease, and had our AI find them and pull them out and create this summary based on the document that you analyze, any of those underlying documents, the leases or whatever. It's also going to generate you this longer summary that's more akin to something you maybe send straight on to a client. And depending on the fee earner that's using it, that depends on which one of those summaries that you want to use. We also every document that we provide is either a Word document or an Excel document. So everything is customizable. You can add information, you can use it, remove information. If you don't like this, you just delete it. So that you really have that customizable feel to it. You can really use it however you want to. So as you can see, again, this took under 30 seconds to generate, and this is you can use this summary here as your first draft report on title. You can, add information to it, remove information to it. Maybe your client doesn't actually need the verbatim information printed on the title, but maybe, you just want to add your thoughts underneath it or what that actually means for them. You can do that like this. Through our particular platform, we offer customization. We can make your reports in your house style, with your house font, all the colors, that sort of thing. We then go on to a bit more information, which I'm just going to scroll past to show you the sort of other stuff that we include and how we really can help with speeding up that transaction. So for our corporate analysis, this is going to cross-check, as I said, your title proprietors against their entries at Companies House, where they are a UK company, and where they are an overseas company, it's going to cross-check them against the Register of Overseas Entities. It's going to flag to you if those entries are correct. So in this case, the title proprietor is National Grid Gas, but when it's checked the title number against its entry at Companies House, it's actually Cadent Gas Limited. So those two titles don't match. It's flagged that for you really clearly as that doesn't match. And it's given us a link directly to Companies House to investigate that further. Well, we have a situation here where it does match, so we know, this is all kind of fine. Title plans, these are the documents that come from the land registry. We have a variety of plans and maps involved. Some of them are interactive, which just give you additional information. And again, additional context as to where the asset sits, geographical features around it, that sort of thing. You can print those out if you like them. They keep that resolution in A3, which is good for junior members of the team. We give you information on the energy performance and pull out energy performance certificates, flag to you where they have, where they're expired, where their ratings are too low to do anything with, that sort of thing. And then we give you a really big overview of all the planning information. This is about 70% of the information that would come in a local search, which is a search you would do in the UK for everybody not in the UK. And this will kind of flag information to you as to recently granted planning permissions. We've got a link here to the local authority database if you want to go and find information about that planning decision. It's also going to flag information about, listed buildings, flood risks, heritage designations, that sort of thing. So it's kind of giving you all of that information right at the start of your transaction, so that any kind of further due diligence you do becomes a cross-checking exercise rather than a creation exercise, and to just speed up every aspect of your transaction. So you could have this document, this full first draft document, within 30 seconds of opening up the website, and it is just there to kind of save you so much time. We say we save you 20 minutes a title. I think in reality it is probably more than that, but even if it is 20 minutes a title, if you think about that across the whole team, across the whole year, it adds up really, really quickly. I've got one final thing that I'll show you just to give you another idea of how you can kind of use reports like this, or how we help fee earners to sort of save time across their entire transaction. Bear with me while I just switch my screen again. So what we have here is, sorry, bear with me, just opening up the correct report. So what we have here is our portfolio report. So unlike our unlike the previous reports that I've shown you. Oh, sorry, for some reason it just does not want to exist. Here we go. It doesn't want to exist in my options to share screens. This is an Excel spreadsheet, so it has all of the information that's in that previous report, but it's formatted as an Excel document, so you can manipulate the data, you can investigate it for specific title risk. If there are things you're really looking for, you can find it. It breaks down all the risks that the AI may identify into little tabs, and then you can kind of go navigate to those tabs to find the specific answers to whatever it is that you're looking for. So all the rights benefiting for every title you analyze will be here. So especially where you're working with lots of properties together, you can compare them all together. You can do you can find out where they're different, you can find out where they're missing, and there's that benefit of basically just popping them into the website, generating this report instantly, and then reviewing them all simultaneously. You can also do things like, that's the wrong one. You can do things like, filter this by specific data points. So if you are, for example, looking for, in the UK, you can kind of own properties as a freehold property, as a leasehold property. If you have a portfolio and you need to find all the leasehold properties, you can filter it down, and this will just give you the leasehold properties. If you want to find within that, do any of them have the mines and minerals rights excluded? We can do that. We can, all we've done now is instantly in seconds narrow down an entire portfolio of properties down into one. So you could use this to audit a client's entire property holding in the UK, especially if you're, say, someone like a social housing provider or something, and you don't necessarily know everything that you own, or you need information about everything that you own. It's a really, really good way to do that. So those are sort of the different ways you can use these different reports at different stages of a transaction. If you get to like an asset disposal part of a transaction, this report here is basically a ready-made data room that's ready to go. You can also use it to sort of in an ongoing management situation. All your tenancy information is scheduled. You can draft leases. You can use it to manage a portfolio of properties if you're involved in that. So that is our title platform. We have a lease platform as well, which I'll just quickly show you what one of those lease reports looks like. This is a brand new platform that we're releasing, and it differs to our title platform because it uses a completely different type of AI. It is, there it is. This is entirely generated by a large language model. This is going to read any document that you put into it, any lease, registered leases, unregistered leases. In the UK, you get a lot of documents that are sort of manuscripts from 150 years ago, massively degraded, upside down. It can read all of those, and it's going to extract that information and give you the ability to report on lease really quickly and easily. Again, it's the exact same UI. It's the exact same way that you access it. Go to the website. It's purple. The button is purple instead. So again, very simple. But what we've got here is a summary and a first draft report on lease that's generated by a large language model. We always flag that really clearly to let you know this is generated by generative AI, as opposed to being data extraction. But what this does is, of any lease, it goes through it and it finds all the key commercial terms. So things like, the landlord and tenant, the premises, again, any other parties that are involved, term, specific contractual provisions in the UK, information on the rent and the rent review, the service charge, all these sorts of different commercial terms. And what we've given it to make this, again, really really easy for you guys, key, concise, succinct bullet points that just give you that key information to basically give you what you need to know about these leases as quickly as possible and as clearly as possible. So again, this can be your starting point for your full report on lease that you send on to your clients. You can, build on this if you want to. As in addition to these bullet point summaries here, we also, set out a much longer form summary that you can maybe send directly on to your clients. It's basically just there to really speed up that reporting on lease process. So there's no more searching through the document, trying to find the provision on underletting, working out what it says. It's going to identify it and pull it through automatically. So that is what our products do. They basically are there to speed up your due diligence, your entire property transactions. Unlike other providers, we focus just on property transactions, just on real estate transactions. So they're really specialized and really really niche to that industry. So we can make them more detailed. We can make the input more comprehensive. In addition to that, we don't, you guys, we don't need any of our users to be investigating the documents themselves. There are a lot of products that are like chatbots available where you need to interrogate the document and ask it questions and find out different things, which requires a level of understanding how to prompt the AI to get it to do what you need it to do. Ours does not do that. It's completely pre-trained. It works seamlessly, and it's just designed to remove all of that tedious admin involved in generating all of those documents and creating all of your reporting on title, and then basically leaving all of the good legal work to you guys. So in a nutshell, that's it. Do I have any questions?
I've got a couple that folks have messaged me, Alana. You talk about how the lease platform, for example, you can put in these leases that are upside down and maybe not in the greatest shape, and you don't have to enter these prompts. What is the degree of accuracy with these platforms? How much human oversight is involved?
Yeah, so I mean, so certainly for us, our platforms have been really, really rigorously trained, and I think this is something that Matt spoke about earlier. We use lawyers to train it. So in addition to us kind of setting those data points, it goes through several rounds of beta testing with with clients, with lawyers of different levels, to make sure that the output that it's generating is the output it should be generating. Obviously, with any AI, that it's never going to be, especially generative AI, it's never going to be 100% accurate. Our sort of internal metric, I mean, I could give you a number, I could say whatever, but we're confident ours is the most accurate one on the market. But the quality of the document does impact the quality of the information that it can extract, obviously. But certainly our AI is able to read documents that humans aren't able to read, and we have clients that previously had to advise their clients to get an indemnity because certain documents cannot be reviewed. Our AI can review them, but it does go through a really rigorous testing process, and that's why we don't want that's why all of the prompts and there is no input from you guys in terms of you asking it to find the rent review provision, because our prompts are 2 or 3 pages long. They're really specific and they're designed to get the correct information, which is why we do it that way, because we can be more confident of the accuracy rather than if you just say to a chatbot, hi chatbot, what is the rent review provision for this lease, that is not necessarily going to get you all the information that you want to.
Okay. Any other questions, or I'll continue with a couple that I have here. So we've explored other AI platforms that are in multiple languages. Does this work in languages other than in English? And two-part question, where is this platform available? In what countries is this platform available? Currently,
our platform is available in Great Britain, so England, Scotland, Wales. That is where it's currently available. Our lease platform specifically, there is no reason why that couldn't work in other languages. It is basically the exact same way. What we are kind of hoping to do is, teach it different different types of things kind of in the future about different types of standard format leases for different countries, so it can be more widely applicable. But at the moment, it is just Great Britain that it's available in, but hopefully not for long.
How would our members or would other firms outside of the UK have the opportunity to partner with Avail?
Yeah, I mean, we would absolutely welcome that, and I would say the easiest thing to do if something anybody's interested in is to email me, and we can kind of work out, you know, what it is you're looking for, how we can do it, and certainly our long-term goal is to bring it out to other jurisdictions, but that does require a level of local expertise that we don't necessarily have. So partnering with firms that do is definitely part of that.
Wonderful. And Janos, I see your question about providing various samples. We will have this recorded and the recording will be available on the website, but Alana, is it possible to share those samples as
Yes,
well?
of course.
Okay.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And I'll circulate that with the recording, Janos.
Yes, absolutely. I'll email them through to you.
Any other questions? Matt, is there anything else that you wanted to chime in from actually using the platform from your perspective?
I think what Alana's sort of neatly shown, there's a lot of different ways that we can use it. And when we first started using it, everybody thought, well, the only use for this will be to speed up our reports on title. But I think, as Alana's pointed out, so you can use that scoping report to think about your pricing, your initial kickoff, timescales with a client. If client comes around and says, we need to buy this property, it's got to be done incredibly quickly. You can have a quick look at the title. You can think, right, it's an absolute hideously complicated title, therefore it's actually 5 days is just not realistic with the best will in the world, or actually it's quite straightforward. So you can use it from that perspective. I've used it a lot for clients who are bidding. So what you're doing is you give them the output. You might add a bit of commentary in it, but you're then they're then able to say to a seller, well, actually we've done some due diligence. We understand some of the risks. We've noticed this. Have you got insurance for it? Have you got an indemnity for it? How have you dealt with it? So it's getting your client around the racetrack a little bit more quickly. Also makes that transaction then sticky to you as a law firm, because your clients are saying, well, actually, these guys have already helped me about this. They already know about it. So we'll use those guys and we'll go back to them. We've also used it in big, and again, Alana's touched on this, but big portfolio analysis. So one client had an issue with some mines and minerals where one of the aggregates company in the UK asserted that they owned mines and minerals under one of their sites, brought proceedings against them. So what they then decided to do was review their entire portfolio of about 1,000 different title numbers and to analyze the mines and minerals risk, and for those where there was deemed to be an appropriate level of risk to go away and look for insurance to bottom that out. And we've also used it to help that same client then, which is sort of separating out different parts of its business, to use the portfolio output to then go and compartmentalize and add further columns into the Excel, all about this ability to make it your own, to highlight, right, that piece goes into the logistics business, that goes into residential, that goes somewhere else, and they can start to understand how all the different title numbers map together. So it's an incredibly powerful tool, I think. But the beauty is, what Avail are continuing to do by working with us is that the product enhancements are things that we're asking for, and things that we are finding a benefit. And once you get to a certain stage, they become more and more useful in terms of the outputs, because you know what you're getting, what the clients know what they're getting, etc.
Thank you, Matt. Does anybody else have any questions for Matt or Alana? Is anyone else on the call using any other AI platforms or looking into using AI for real estate transactions?
Well, this is Jens, Hannah. I can from the Danish point of view, I may add that actually we have a very comprehensive public data system. The land registry is coordinating information about properties in the entire country, and is also cross-checking and coordinating with other registries such as the company's registry and so forth. So basically, we have very good intelligence or very good information sources from the available public registries already, which means that we can extract the data such as all leaseholds, all restrictions that are placed on the property and so forth in reports that we pull out of the public registries. So in that respect, I think we have decided at the moment, at least at Bækbroen, to closely watch and look about these products to see if we can use them. But at the moment, we believe we are doing pretty well based on the public registries. So that would be a status from a Danish perspective.
Thanks, Jens. Anyone else?
Tom Davey here. I was just going to add that, yeah, we're in a similar position, I think, in terms of looking at and exploring the use of AI for title reviews and lease reviews and so on. We haven't implemented one yet, and one of the challenges we face is a little bit unlike Jen's, the Irish land registry system. We're at about 90% registered titles, but we will still pick up those really stinky, awful titles that Matt spoke about there reasonably frequently, particularly around cities and the older cities in the country. So I guess, and that's probably linked to one of my questions, maybe for Alana and Matt, and excuse me, I was late joining, so you may have said this already, but in terms of reviewing documents, a lot of the time, as Matt and others will be aware, you pick up a title that is a handwritten deed from 200 years ago. And often you cannot read it without a magnifying glass and some help from someone who's a little younger than me, maybe. But is it Alana? Is it that good that it's reading this sort of calligraphic, handwritten, and figuring out what takes us hours? Yeah, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It can read that. To be fair, that's only a pretty recent addition to it. So it's maybe been doing that about 6 months. As when I will email through to Hannah all the documents I showed you, but I have got a really incredible example of a document from 1850 that it is basically, yeah. So I'll send that through as well, just so you can get an example to see what it looks like. But yeah, absolutely can.
That's great. Thanks, Alana.
I think the other beauty as well, and I've not yet used the Avail list tool, but that piece which is, I've looked at other AI within the business. We're always looking at how we can do things, and we've looked at Kira for the purposes of lease reporting, but it's a little bit like you're saying, Alana, you've got to train it yourself, whereas the beauty from your perspective is what you're doing is you're taking out a product and you're saying this is pre-trained, it comes out of the box. You as a law firm who are now buying this product don't need to do anything with it because you've done all of that training in the background. Whereas with a Kira type product, and I'm only using example as it's the one that I've used, we were having to try and do the training as you were going, and it's very time intensive for the law firm to do that. So it's quite, I think that's the sort of the neat bit of the product, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as I said, when you're training it yourself, there is a level of needing to know how the AI works in order to train it effectively, and nobody wants to buy something and then have to get a lecture about how it works from a technical perspective to then work out how to train it properly. It's a huge time investment.
Any other questions for Alana or Matt?
Alana, hi, Monica here from Singapore.
Yeah.
Just want to find out, so basically when you extract the documents of title, they come direct from the UK Land Registry. So the client pays the, well, in this case, pays Garling, for example, for the report. And then does Garling separately, extract the information from the registry, or it's all done through Avail?
So when you do it through Avail, if you were to say buy a document from the Land Registry through Avail, which you can do as well, we send you, as part of kind of everything that we generate, you get the original document, so you have that document. Any so that would be there. I mean, in terms of what Gowling do internally, if they kind of make their own version of the reports or add to them or anything, I think that probably depends on the transaction. But everything you buy through the platform, you also get a separate copy of, so you can send that on to the client if they want the originals or anything like that, as well as all the reporting.
But by way of example of the evolution of the product, so when we started, we had to go and buy all of the products that you wanted. So the underlying documents, so the land registry titles and the documents referred to from the land registry, you'd then drag those over into Avail, you drop them in, Avail would do its magic, and then it would produce your report. Whereas now, Avail now speaks directly to the land registry. So you can say, I want title number AB1234, and Avail goes off and it tells you, right, I can get you that title, I can get you that title plan, and I can also get you the 4 documents that are referred to on that title. Do you want to buy them? Yes or no? Yes. Tick yes, and then it does it all for you. So that's, again, as Alana's saying, in terms of, you know, the very neat and time-saving mechanism. Even logging into the land registry system takes you 30 seconds. So this is as quick as doing that, and you get the output built into your time. So, you know, from that sense, it's very, very quick.
Right. Okay. Because in Singapore, I think our land registry is quite sophisticated. So, like what Jan says, I think a large proportion of our properties are all actually already registered title. So the information is available from our land registry, and actually from the public searches, we can actually purchase in different stages. In other words, if you want a basic ownership right type of information, you could just pay like $5 Sing. If you want more details, as to whether it's freehold, leasehold, and the information, the more details you want, you pay a little bit more. So the information is actually all ready. So what we commonly do, I mean, I think it's in all law firms, we would be able to extract the title, documents, and of course, looking behind the document, if it's a freehold title, whether it's a grant, if it's a leasehold title, whether it's, there's a lease sitting behind it. So the information is there, but the difficulty for us is also that having to extract each item for each property. So in a large portfolio transaction, I mean, it would be great if we can extract all that information in a near few, like 20 minutes. We have had in the past used certain types of AI, as what Alana said, I mean, where we had to train them. Huge number of documents have to be put in, and a lot of time by the lawyers. We've given that up. And in recent times, actually, for the lease summaries, we are actually about to do some sample testing with a new AI platform. So let's see how that goes. But what you have, Phil, actually it appears quite similar to what we are looking at. But it would be useful, I think, in terms of the title, consolidation of reports and all that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Janos.
I have a question to Alana. Alana, would you have a similar application for other fields of legal practice? For instance, questionnaires in relation to due diligence or M&As, or for any other similar. So is this the only product that you have, or you have more?
So at the moment, this is the only one that we have, and that is because all the experience that we have in-house has been around real estate law. So almost everybody in the team has been a real estate lawyer. However, the technology that we've developed as part of our lease platform specifically, and reviewing all those underlying documents and the handwritten documents, all of that can be applied to any document. It just needs to be trained on getting the correct output from that document.
Yeah.
So there is no reason now why we can't. It takes a bit of time, but there's no reason why we can't build that out into any other reporting, analyzing, and extracting information or summarizing information from any document.
Hannah, you realize why I say this, because it could very well apply to other fields of practice in relation to due diligence, not only for real estate, but also for company formation, for data rooms, name it. So it would be nice to explore this possibility also, because whatever Alana says makes absolute sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Janos. And I will share Alana's contact information in the follow-up email. So if you are interested in, exploring this in your jurisdiction, you can reach out to her as well. Does anybody have any other questions for Alana or Matt? Otherwise, we'll take the last 10 minutes.
Hi, Hannah, do you hear me? This
Hi,
is
Nadia.
Nazim. Hi, Hannah. Sorry, everyone. I cannot open my camera because I'm driving, but I wanted to see how AI is active in real estate practice. This is Nazim Kurt from Hergner Law Firm, Turkey. And I have a question. Who is using this AI? Matt, to Matt. Matt, it's a very simple question. You are using the AI and you have the output. But as a lawyer, practitioner, you cannot 100% rely upon this AI output. It's my personal view, but I don't think, I want to know what you think. And the question is, for instance, if you spent 1 hour in doing an executive summary of a lease, then how many minutes do you use after this using this AI?
So I think tech and AI isn't necessarily 100% solution yet. So I think we have some brilliant tech at Gowling, but I don't think it's all the way there. And so I think having a healthy dose of cynicism at the same time as using it is the right approach for the time being. I think it will get there, and there'll be a time when a lot of the due diligence will be, you will be able to rely on it completely. So for me, it's about getting a way around the running track and getting, our lawyers to say, can I take a lease report, which in the UK, let's say, so I've just bought a retail park. I've got senior lawyers maybe taking 10 hours to do a lease report. Can I condense that time frame and reduce it down to 5 hours by using the AI to get us round the running track more quickly, and then using the output, but as Alana's saying, going in and adding the legal value that we do to the transaction. So not just taking out the data, but interpreting it. What do we think that's a market norm position? When it says, in the UK, we have upwards only rent reviews. And if the lease report comes back and says, the rent could go up or down, well, that's when your lawyer's going to make a flag to say, actually, that, this isn't normal in the UK real estate market. And therefore, actually, you might want to think twice before purchasing this asset because it might impact your ability to sell it in the future. That's where I think the real value is at the moment for me. I think the Avail can do, and AI can do an awful lot, but it doesn't do it absolutely completely. And so I still think there's an integration between lawyer and AI to be most effective.
Thank you, Matt. Very clear.
No problem.
Thanks, Matt. And I think that's probably true for any AI or any technology platform. You can't just simply leave it to the technology. There has to be some sort of human check on that. We're coming up. We've got about 8 minutes left. Any other questions for Alana or Matt? And I know part 2 of the meeting was, and Alana, I know you have a meeting to run to, so if you have to go, we really appreciate you sharing this, and I will get those examples from you and I'll circulate them with the recording along with Alana's contact information, so that you could reach out to her if you're interested in learning more or exploring this in your jurisdiction. But Alana, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really lovely to speak to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Matt,
you.
for
Thanks,
sharing
Alana.
your experience with it as well. We've got about 7 minutes left. I know part 2 of this meeting was for us to go around and talk about sort of the state of the market in 2024. I don't want to cut anyone short, but I do think we could use the last 7 minutes of this time. And then, of course, if we need to schedule another meeting, we can definitely do so. But did anyone have something in particular that they wanted to share from their jurisdiction? Janos, I know you've talked about real estate in our business development committee meeting, so I know you've got things to share. You're on mute. There we
Yeah,
go.
I was muted. You're right. Well, we have some news in the sense that the Golden Visa program has become actually a European Union disease because now the Greek government is pressed by European Union to make some modifications to this program. So we are expecting that the threshold will be higher than it was before. I remind you that in order to get a Schengen visa from Greece, you needed to to spend 250,000 for the purchase of property. Now this goes up to 800,000, which will make it very steep, actually, for many people to follow. But the same seems that it is a tendency applying to all EU countries. Or at least Spain, Portugal, and Malta. It has not been legislated as yet, but our intelligence information actually tend to be double-checked so far. But when I have something new, I will definitely report it and make an amendment to what I have already reported.
So if you want a low barrier to entry, do it now before this is enacted. Is that what you're telling us, Janos?
What I'm saying is you have to rush. Everybody watching now have to rush and buy property in Greece while the threshold is still low. If you don't do that, you are missing a terrible opportunity.
Anyone else?
And I have one issue which is not has got nothing to do with the Danish market at all, but it has to do with the upcoming MIPIM property conference in Cannes in March. And I encourage everyone attending this meeting to spread the word around your firms that a lot of our law group member firm lawyers dealing in real estate will be in Cannes for that week. And on the website is at the moment, Hannah has provided a WLG a member attending where we try to have people register if they are going to Cannes or not. And what we will do is we will arrange a meetup probably on the Wednesday or the Thursday. Wednesday will be the 13th of March or the 14th Thursday of March, somewhere around beginning afternoon or something like that. We did that last year, and Nassim was there, and Nassim, I'm sure I will be able to count on your participation again this year.
Sure, will do.
Great,
will do, Jens.
Fantastic, Nassim. I look forward to that. But just a heads up to spread the word around your firms that there is an opportunity to sign up, and then we know you're there, and then we will arrange for a meetup between World Law Group member firms attending. So that was just it, Hannah. Thank you.
Wonderfully. That was how I was planning to close out the meeting. So you were reading
I'm sorry.
No problem. Janos.
Jens' idea is great. I remember that in the past there was a kind of office in MIPIM with one lawyer from each European country, actually. And it was actually an institution at that time. I suppose that it doesn't exist anymore. So presumably you can take the lead, Jens, in order to, in the next MIPIMs, to be able to make a presentation of the capabilities of the group in there, of the World Law Group. And it is an idea which we may discuss in the Business Development Committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
good point, Janos.
That for next year, Janos. But Jens has always, I've dropped the link in there, by the way, for anyone, just click on it. You'll have to log into your profile, but you can click on that and just let us know you're attending, and then I'll circulate that list with everyone. But Jens has been great in organizing a meetup. He does all the heavy lifting for us and just gets everyone together. So thank you for that, Jens.
Sure, no problem. It's a pleasure. But I guess Hannah will just talk about fixing a date. Not that you would probably be so much involved in that. That is probably more down to people's schedule, or my schedule at least. I have many meetings during the week. So and then we can spread the word when meetup will be and where, of course.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. We will be in touch with the next meeting. As always, if there's something in particular that you are interested in talking about or discussing with your WLG real estate peers, please reach out to me, Jens, Monica, or Neil, who are our 3 leaders. And we are happy to add that to an agenda.